closer, but time is not in his favor. He has a challenging shotgun close, and Wood's gonna get it!
Do some damage. Nikolai from the backside! Finds Wisdom again! It would be a big one. He's finding the first. Can he find it? Swing again!
What? Left in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. Make that a 1v1. Oh my goodness, Nitro sell out. And who's gonna stop him?
Hello everybody, welcome to day number 2 of the first qualifier for SCS Season 6. I am Lynx, joined by Benny. And Benny, well, I have to say, we had a pretty dynamic first day yesterday, hoping for some of the same level of excitement today, I hope.
I definitely want to see some of those shots. Some of those plays yesterday was just like, I know you saw Cookie's tweet about like, yeah, sure, it's T3, but some of that talent, man, some of that talent is not just T3. That is just crazy plays you can see here already. Like yesterday, that clubhouse game between Chair and 99 Burglars. Oh boy.
Yeah, it was if you recall, as you can see the replays going in front of you, you see 99 Burglars. They're going up pretty high. They're really racking up the score. It must have been a dominant game to start out. Well, my friend, you thought wrong. Because shortly, as you can see, it's a 6-2. Chair managed to make a comeback and end up winning it out 8-7. And that was the first game of the qualifiers. Maybe sure, not two of the top teams to start out, but certainly an impressive match to start off with our debut. The second one, I think, is we'll start to see the replays playing a little bit from that second match. Was certainly impressive, of course. Also, nice to see. I've not casted Iski in a long time, so nice to see him coming back into the fray. So I've not seen him in a bit, but here we go. Remember, Benny, CJ yesterday was talking about how some of the T3 teams think that CL is just a little bit Lamicki right now. And while it's not true for some, I think in this case of the Okami game yesterday, not only a poor showing from them, but an excellent showing from Surf.
Oh yeah, dude, Surf are showing up hard here. All five members on Surf showing that there is potential in the amateur scene to just rack up and just change up the entire T2 team when they get to the age at least. Hopefully CJ's live then, but still, look at this. Asian is crazy. That's just, he got a 3
Asian
is insane.
Asian hit a monster shot from China at one point in the round, but Surf ended up winning that game 7-3. And here I think is another, not the final match. There's one more match after this one for the ones that were on stream yesterday, but Team Mystic versus Aerial Rise, an extremely close one. Neither one going flawless on the day in the end, but Team Mystic, if you recall, was the #1 team in the CJ and Harrison's predictions for the top 12 teams going into day number 1. Team Mystic was right up there at the top, beating out all the other CL teams, all the other teams, period. And they very, very narrowly lost that game. Of course, ended up going to overtime. They won 8-6. Still a victory. It goes to show that them are certainly, not invincible, and Aerial also looking really good. But speaking of, the opposite of invincibility, I mean, this was just a dominant showing from Wichita Wolves Academy to end things out on the day.
Yeah, there's some good points from the side of In Control, but it was just Wichita Wolves for the most part, or the entire part pretty much, had control of that game, unfortunately. Maybe see In Control get better at them, but you just want to see those players, seeing some of these players that come back to Siege and seeing them in the amateur scene is so weird.
It is certainly weird. I know Harrison mentioned how he missed casting T3, and it's certainly been a long time since I have sort of stepped down and gotten back into the amateur scene. So seeing players like JJ as well, who I've casted extensively and not casted him for a long time, he's stepping into that Wichita Wolves Academy roster. Used to be Revenge Nations for those core players. Now with JJ at the helm, we hope to see a lot from them. But going forward, Benny, let's take a look at we can talk about a lot of things, league overall, what teams are playing today. But first, if we want to start out, what's the format are we looking at for the league? Where are we going? What are these teams playing for? And what kind of league are they playing for?
I would say they're playing for a spot first. A spot in these 4 groups, 4 teams, or 4 groups of 4, 16 teams in total, trying to play together. And that first week is going to be interesting though. So because we just have each team, play against each other, play pairs. We're going to see the little colors as they're going to match up what teams are playing against each in the beginning first week. That's going to give them a score, give them some kind of, starting off modifier, what they are or what their statistics are to start off. And that's going to, prove to be what they're going to play in the next week. Teams who have won that one game are going to play against other teams who have won a one game, and teams who have lost the game will play against other teams who have lost the game, and so on and so forth. And then if teams are, tied up and like they have 1-1 scoreline, they'll play each other in decider matches. And that's all to decide who goes into the 18 playoffs in a week 4.
Yep, 2 teams from each group, of course, one being 2-0, one having to win that third game to decide if they go down 1-2, go up 2-1. But then that's what they're playing for once they get into league. They're playing for a spot right now. And once they get that spot, if they get that spot, they're playing for a spot in those playoffs down the line. And the goal right there is to go up 2-0, to be that #1 seed in your group that doesn't have to play that third best of 3 and maybe have things come down to the wire to decide whether or not you get to the playoffs of Winter Champs. But again, going forward as well, that is the league that we're playing for, but we're not there yet. Not only do we still have this qualifier to get through, still have a second one down the line as well, and also a chance, at least in this qualifier, for some teams to secure their spot to play against some of these CL teams that we mentioned earlier. See, in Group A, we have Aerial Arise and Two-Faced, a latter of which has actually made some changes. They brought on Poison from T3 to help guide the helm of that roster, and also, recall, Butter's recently leaving the team. They are LFP, so get to see the new team in their new form once we get to the closed qualifiers and the Group A teams play. Then we have Group B, One Shot, Aqualix, and Benny, I have to say, Aqualix also making some changes. One Shot looking to redeem themselves. Group B might be a group that has a lot of compelling storylines going for them, especially amongst those two teams right now.
Yeah, definitely that. We go. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the CL teams change up their rosters or how change up their play as we go into SCS, because it's the offseason. They have time to improve for the next, CL year per se. But we have Team C or Group C and Group D. We have Investigation Files and Carnico, which Carnico was Livid previously, but they're now not an org. And then Group D has Wichita Wolves and Nocturnes in that group. And a lot of people are asking, well, what is there a group of death here? Is there one group you don't want to be a part of? That's gonna be an interesting question. What group would you not want to be a part of in this instance?
Oh, that's honestly the question. There's no group that I really think is so dominantly above the other. I think they each have a really strong team, and each have a team that has made some changes or is undergoing maybe a shift in mentality. I think really any group, honestly, it's going to be both equally tough, but at the same time, it's not to the point where you just don't have a chance of getting a couple wins over these CL teams, especially if you're a team like Mystic, like Surf, who have shown to be really promising in these qualifiers so far. No matter which group you end up in, there's not one where you're like, well, we got screwed. Nothing we can do going forward.
Well, let's see how the groups have gone so far for these teams after the first day. Who is on top right now? Who's doing the best? The top 4 teams right now. Obviously, we got Asylum Patience, which was Funny Tacos, Surf, Team Gustic, and Mystic.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, Mystic was the top of the pack yesterday when Harrison and CJ ranked these teams. Now, still in the top 4, not at all bad. 3-1 record, certainly good, but not that number 1 spot. I think Asylum Patience surprised a lot of people with that. Not just a positive record, but 4-0 as well. The number 1 spot, as Benny said, it's 4/5 of that Bernie's Tacos roster, except instead of Poise, they have Snows, and you, of course, have the rest. Titans, Flipper, Rainbow, and Nat, filling up the rest of that roster. Surf as well, that's Ashen, Ambi, Asian, Spiff, and Reed Sync. That's just a hodgepodge of massive underage talent who, again, beat Okami yesterday in a game that they won at 7-3. It probably should have been a lot more lopsided in Surf's favor than it ended up coming out. But I think the biggest surprise in this list, Benny, is Team Goosick, because Mystic, Surf, and even Asylum Patience, to an extent, while they might not have been in the top 4, they're still a CL team. We expect them to do well. I don't think anybody expected this out of Team Goosick. Nobody expected that out of Goosick.
Yeah, I guess it's the fact that you know these people from other leagues. You know the people from like popular T3 leagues or popular amateur leagues. Nobody really knows Team Goosick. I have not heard of their names. Maybe, well, I'm also not someone who knows amateur scenes, so that's true. Obviously I don't know them.
Could be ignorance on our part.
Even people like Harrison or Cookies and Links, they don't know who they are. They're like, who are these guys?
Well, it's not even that. It's just when you have so many of these very strong teams that are contending just for the top 4 spots.
Yeah.
Seeing a team like Goosick, who I'm not saying they're bad by any means, but certainly surprised a lot of people that they made it as high as they did. Of course, you can move down to the top 8 as well. See who are still in the spotlight, but by no extent in that top 4 in that upper echelon. We have Shadow Realm, Wichita Wolves, Frenchie & Co., and Outlast. Outlast, who was the number 4 yesterday, one of those CL teams, just goes to show how much of an exception almost that Silent Patient's success has been in this qualifier so far. Outlast is 3-1. They are, still contending. They're in that top 8, but they've certainly dropped a lot more than they were yesterday. And seeing teams like Wichita Wolves Academy show up in that number 6 spot, and another T3 team that has a lot of talent on their roster, that's that Revenge Nation roster that just narrowly missed out on their chance at CL relegations last year. Again, it really has been a qualifier so far that shows that T3 teams can certainly hang with those tried and tested CL talent.
Definitely, I agree. I'm so interested to see the amateur and the T2 scene really collide here and see who can couple on top and see if we can how talented our amateur scene is, and see if they can bring it out when we go into the actual league. But top 12, let's see the last few teams in that bottom side of the bracket. Valkyrie, Chair, Achieve, and Air Rise. Unfortunate Chair's on that. Chair played such a good game yesterday too, but they're still there too. They're still in it somewhat, but It's unfortunate they couldn't really do a whole lot after that game because that's such a long game though too. Oh my god.
It was certainly a long game, but I think the big shocker, there's two big shockers here, I would say, is Aerial Arise's placement at 12th. They were 3rd in the rankings yesterday, and they're 2-2. It's by no means bad, but this was an underage pug stack that we really expected a lot of. Lot of talent on that roster. Og, for example, absolutely just massive player, storied in T3 on that roster. Again, they showed up yesterday. They had a good showing, but certainly I think we had a lot higher expectations. But in my opinion, the biggest one, Okami was number 6. They're not even in the top 12. And I mentioned yesterday their game against Surf. They ended up losing at 7-3. Honestly, they deserved to lose at a much larger margin based on how they were playing. Don't know how their other games went. That was the only one they were on stream. But the CSCL team just dropped so dramatically. I mean, not only does it speak about them, but it also just, again, goes to show to hammer the point home one more time. These underage teams, they are here to play, and they are not to be trifled with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We'll see the last 4 teams on the bottom of our ladder. Yeah, like just talk about Okami, Electric. I can't say their name really.
Eclectic,
Control Nation and Phantom. Like that name crazy. It's just like, what am I looking at even?
It's I mean, I can always appreciate a team that likes to get a little bit wild with the spelling of their names. It's very clever. I like it personally. I know Harrison wasn't a big fan yesterday, but I think it's funny. So yeah, these are your top 16 teams, 4-0 all the way down to 2-2. These are who are still somewhat in contention for a spots. Of course, some much more likely than others. The burden on, say, Okami's shoulders to come back from the deficit they suffered yesterday is a lot more heavy than, say, the burden Asylum or Surf feel. They just need to win a couple more games, and they're kind of sitting free for a good rest of this qualifier, and will likely, one of those teams, unless something goes terrible today, likely will end up, I wouldn't be surprised, in one of those groups come close qualifiers.
Oh. Been told that we're maybe going to another, what game we going to today?
Ooh, let's find out.
Well, what is our bracket so far? The teams are playing against each other.
This is always the fun part of qualifiers. You don't really know entirely what game you're getting going in. Even for us, we're sitting here like, okay, what game do we want? We're choosing behind the scenes. What game do we think is going to go well? But we don't know yet. We're still waiting. So we have a lot of time to decide. I don't know what. Well, I know this is obviously, we have not casted the qualifier yet. This is our first day working it. What teams are you hoping to see going into this that we hope to see at least once on stream, or just hope to see a good showing from, even if they're not on stream at all?
I'd say we saw a lot of teams yesterday that we've already know of and already seen. Maybe more Team Goose Sick at this point because there's still a bit of a wild card.
Goose Sick is they're up there for me too. I mean, I don't know how they play. They're 3-1 right now. Like, I gotta see them a little bit. Even if it's not on stream, I might just, during the production, if one of the players are streaming, have their stream up just like, what's going on over there? Because the fact that they're up 3-1 right now, again, a team that, when Aerial Arise is all the way down there in terms of the rankings, Okami as well, seeing a team like that come up all the way 3-1, I am very intrigued to see what they have in store, and if they can carry on the momentum from yesterday into today as well, because you can get a couple of those best-of-1 wins early on, but if teams are, either experienced against you or have some info on how you play, could change things a little bit, and a volatile playstyle could quickly turn against the team, even though they got a positive record the day before. I know also, at least for me, taking more of the T2 aspect and the T3 aspect, I'm interested to see how Outlast are playing with their new pickup as well. Of course, Jen no longer being on the roster. He was one of those big players there. And I believe, is it Mr. B who's on the roster?
It's escaping me right now. On the roster, yeah, Mr. B.
Well, again, another player who in T3, kind of, honestly, I would say opposite Poison. I feel like there are 3 big T3 IGLs who have just been grinding for so long. JJ, Mr. B, Poison, of course. 2 of them are technically in CL now. I guess JJ, still underage, not there yet. But kind of these IGLs that I'd say have always been captains of teams. The rosters might change, but you can always count on them grinding. It's nice to see Mr. B finally get his shot as well. I'm interested to see what direction Outlast is taking now that Jen is gone and they brought on an IGL like Mr. B who has a fair bit of credibility under his belt.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Seeing these teams outplay, maybe you want to watch Outlast today because we haven't seen did we see them yesterday actually? I don't know yet. They didn't play yesterday.
I don't think we saw on stream now.
Maybe it's be of them, but yeah, it's like we got to figure out what we're playing first. Maybe go to a quick break while we figure things out and figure who we're casting first.
Yep. So we can go back to the break for just a second. Just wanted to give our thoughts before we decided to go. So we'll see you in a bit when the bracket goes live.
V3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's going to come down.
Favor making a third as he looks up. Making a finds the draw 3. Stunning here from
trapped inside this wave. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from me? I can't see you drown. 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 Whoa. Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. It's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. I can't breathe. I need to get some air, but it's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. You can't breathe and you just need some air. Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe.
V3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
We're
to
making
double.
a third as he looks up. Make it up. Finds the draw three. Stunning here from.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Told you we'd be pretty quick. Not trying to wait too long, and let's just jump right into it. As you saw likely on the bright screen, our first matchup is Shadow Realm versus Outlast, the opposition. It's one of the teams, Benny, that I said that I would like to see, so I'll have to wait a little bit longer on your pick and who you would like to see. But to start this out, again, Shadow Realm, we kind of glossed over them a little bit. They're number 5 right now. Outlast, not too far behind. Both of these teams 3-1. Looking like could be a good match to start out, considering both these teams' records.
I'm hoping it is, but yeah, you should know the Outlast roster. Most of it at this point, you got Nomad, Panic, Athena, Jewel, and Mr. B, the newest addition, like we were talking about before. Shadow Realm, we got Millers, Shiba, Jolt, Not Done Yet, and Kami. Not totally familiar with those names on Shadow Realm, but let's see how well they do here. And well, depends what we're going to. It depends how these teams play out and where we're going to. What is the map looking like? What is it going to play at? Because I want you to see how Outlast does, because Outlast has always been like an up and down team throughout the CL seasons.
Yeah, they
I can
certainly
never tell what their map rotation is.
They certainly had a good start at Stage 3, kind of tapered off towards the end, but I would expect, not just because this is North America, not just because North America T2, T3, but because especially that it is a qualifier, we're going to see a lot of very standard maps. We're going to see a lot of Clubhouse, a lot of Villa, and I believe, is that... Yeah, did I write down the veto wrong? I think,
no,
there we go. Okay, it switched. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, am I already messing things up? No. It's, so as I said, the map is Clubhouse. I believe I heard, one of our stats people mentioned, I think this is the 4th time Clubhouse is now on stream, 3rd time. Either way, it's definitely been one of the most played maps on stream so far. Don't know about the qualifier as a whole, but it has been played very frequently on stream, and for good reason. Benny, I mentioned that we're going to see a lot of those standard maps, and you don't get more standard than Clubhouse.
Well, if we get Oregon, I'm just gonna hate my
Well,
life.
but even then, like Oregon's big problem is that people think it's boring. Clubhouse, but Oregon is still different than the other maps. There's not a lot of verticality. You have to take gunfights. Clubhouse, Clubhouse, I would say, is just a lot more standard siege. It's been very much figured out in most respects. It's going to be a map we're going to see very often.
It is pretty much the oldest map at this point, too, in the pool.
Yeah.
So that makes the most sense.
It's
Oregon
had,
is
small changes.
technically old, but it's gone through a lot more changes compared to Clubhouse, so I agree with you there. But I don't know. I consider Oregon to be the easiest map because it's just so linear to me at least. I might be wrong. I'm just a casual player.
Oh, that's true. But I think for Oregon specifically as well, not to delve too far away from the game, but for Oregon specifically, especially in qualifiers like this, seeing mechanically talented players like Surf go to mechanically talented teams like Surf with players that are mechanically talented like Ashen, Ambi, a map that revolves around taking gunfights to take control can certainly be a sight to behold. But on a map like Clubhouse, this is a team where most people are going to feel comfortable. It's just degrees of comfort based on how those teams feel. For Outlast, it's certainly a map that they've played frequently. Not the best showing art to start out their T2 career. They were 7-0'd by KCP all the way back during the summer. They have come a long way since then, though, and with an IGL like Mr. B in their hands, who's certainly been through the rungs of T3 quite extensively. Certainly looking good depending on how they develop. But I'm excited to see Shadow Realm. Again, they're number 5. They're placed actually higher than Outlast. So for a team that I have not heard much of, and have not seen much of, I'm very intrigued to see how they go up against CL level talent.
Definitely agree. And I'm interested to see like how much has Outlast changed the roles now that Mr. B? So Mr. B could be the IGL on the team. What are the roles going to be? Are they going to have the same people on entry, flex, support? And then, of course, I'm interested to see how well does Shadow Realm do against a tier 2 team? What is I don't know, what is the history of Shadow Realm? If someone could educate me on what Shadow Realm has done in their, amateur career so far.
Well, we won't have to wait too long. We have all players in the lobby. We can finally start getting them at first match of day number 2. Shadow Realm versus Outlast. Shadow Realm starting on the defense. Outlast starting out on the attack. For the bans to start out, we'll see Shadow Realm up first. But I imagine, Benny, again, this is a qualifier. On Clubhouse, a map whose ban phase never really seems to deviate from the norm, I would not be too surprised if you see either of that. Yeah, that's true. Gridlock ban to start things out. Our minds are going to be blown by what Shadow Realm have in store. No, it's going to be, yep, there it is. Great Thatcher.
Thatcher, it's always Thatcher. It's never changes. Never changes.
It doesn't. And it's not without reason. Thatcher, obviously, very good ban. Very good op if left unbanned. For the second ban as well, I'd expect a Hibana for a very similar reason. Maverick or Hibana, either way, it's going to be the Hibana. And usually, this is honestly the nice thing. I prefer Hibana bans because when you have a Thatcher Mav ban, you're guaranteed a Cade, and it's basically like, it's almost like I know in Finite, if you have like a certain spot that's controlled, you do a 1 for it when you calculate like the permutations and the factorials. That's like how it is for the ban phase. If you have a Thatcher Map Cade, it's basically just the same thing throughout.
You just lost me entirely.
I'm sorry. That was for Harrison if he's watching. The
okay,
was for Harrison.
Valkyrie out next. Totally makes sense. Valkyrie on every map is literally the strongest operator on the defense for the information. And Mirror next. Not too crazy. Mirror on Club, not the strongest operator, but still something, an obstacle to put in the place of attacking teams. So nothing crazy to see, really.
So yeah, going into this is going to be comfortable territory for both teams on an extremely played out map. Comfortable map for most teams as well. In theory, these guys should all be at their peak comfort level. We'll just have to see how that play translates in game. Again, this is going to be a big test for Shadow Realms because they are certainly 3-1, but I don't believe they've played a CL level team just yet. So this is going to be the test on how really well they stack up against that high level talent. First side up is looking like it might be Bar Stage to start out. That would certainly be odd, Benny.
That would be definitely be a surprise. I would we see Bar Stage first to start us off would be a surprise, but looks like there may have been an issue.
Maybe we crash. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. I don't really know exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah, it looks like there might be some technical difficulties happening for the moment. They're playing though. Hey, we're playing though.
There we go.
Oh, we're good. We're good. I guess we're good.
Wow, that was.
Yeah, that kind of scared.
Already getting some nervousness starting out. I was just I was like, okay,
All right,
are
then.
we getting into the game? Is it happening? Thankfully, it is. So I don't have to worry about that.
Well, so yeah, we're starting off on bar and stage, and well, even with the new changes to Clubhouse, it's still considered to be a difficult site to hold, though it is better than before, at least in some senses. And now, the big thing is the fact that, well, the bomb site for one of the sites isn't inside of storage, it's more stock, I mean, it's inside of stage now, so you can actually hold it much more effectively as they're closer together. It's gonna be interesting to see what Shadowrun brings here, especially that row upstairs is gonna be important because a lot of that vertical pressure is important now because you can really stop some of those defenders from playing in those anchor spots. Though I would say playing in bar in general just seems like a nightmare, really.
Oh, that's true. And also, well, fitting as Panic will get the first kill onto Millas on the Goyo. What is coincidental about all of this is we've seen Bar Stage a couple times in Challenger League. One time, Aerial Arise failed to attack it, Wichita Wolves won on the defense. But a couple weeks prior, against the same team, Wichita Wolves, Outlast successfully deconstructed that exact same defense. So they certainly have a good record on this. They know how to attack it, and they won that by taking it in this similar way. Starting over on the CCTV side and working their way on in. Getting a pick in the first minute as well. If they can get the same setup they've gone for, this is already looking like an Outlast round, and we're only a minute in.
I totally agree. Well, so that first pick too, you lose your Goyo, one of those C4s. If he had a C4, I don't know if he did or not. That could have been important later on, but yeah, they're making their way through. They're clearing out the top floor first because, like I was like before, vertical pressure is huge. You can really dislodge so many defenders with that vertical pressure inside the master bedroom, and you can make sure that you know where these defenders are at. You know, drones gonna be important. Intel's gonna be important here for the teams. They're gonna drone out, make sure nobody's upstairs, and yeah, nobody from the defending team on Shadow Realm is on the top floor anymore. They've all bottom floor. They're all playing that first floor site for the moment, and the question will be as well, with the top floor control, how are Shadow going to respond? Are they going to try and play more aggressive, stop them? Or already through the hatch, he sees one, not done, take some shots, but he'll back off because he missed those. He just want to throw, give away his position.
That could have been a big kill right there, but eventually does come through, not from the castle, this time from the mute. Manages to C4 Panic, the one who got the opening kill, so that entry's taken down, and look at this, we have a rotate up, a flank coming through, and well, it is a bit hectic, but it ends up coming out in the favor of Shadow Realm. A lot of HP taken down off of Jolt. That's exactly what you needed. If you're going to make that play, come away with the kill, stop the attack, make them a little bit concerned. In the final 45 seconds, that could be enough to throw Outlast off of the rhythm they had going since the beginning. Athena will rotate down over to Strip, try to take things from behind, while Jewel and Mr. B occupy the defenders with that upstairs pressure. Both of them inside a bedroom. The entire defense has rotated over to stage, and Outlast will rotate to the opposite of what they did in that Wichita Wolves game, attacking this from Strip and Bar instead of from that stage and lounge side. Mr. B right now is Jewel's taken down from down below. He rotates into the site. Athena's thankfully there to try and play the trades maybe or get a kill, but that's what's going to need to happen. They need to work a pick in the final 10 seconds, and an opportunity is not presenting itself. A nade sailed on through. One finally happens, evening the man count back up. With Jolt on low HP around the corner, Sheba makes a play, and he manages to round things out as well. It came down a lot closer than I think Shadow Realm were hoping towards the end, but considering how they started, I'd take that win, and I would just walk with it.
I definitely agree. I would totally walk away with that. It's still, yeah, it was scary. It was scary second there. They lose that first play to Panic, who makes their way entering into Garage. In that point, they take control top floor, but there's a C4 and a kill to round things out, to make it, well, not round things, but give them the advantage going into the execute. And on top of that, then at that point, really, you're in execute. You're trying to push your way into, into bar from gym. And, well, most of the members from Shadowrun were farther off. Sheba going for a great flank from that downstairs, going up that main stairs. So at least pressuring to have some other angle onto the members pushing into sight. While, it was scary because they brought it to a 2v2 with, Athena getting that kill. It still was great because Sheba walks in, he takes out one of the members, gets refragged, and then Jolt's right behind him to refrag once again to give them that round win. So great job to Shadowrun to start us off. And now what do you expect? Nobody expects you to win bar stage to start us off.
Yeah, that's certainly a good showing from them. Again, it was a little bit problematic in the early round, but by the end of it, again, coming away with that win, certainly going to be feeling it, especially if they can string together some rounds in the rounds later on. We'll come back to our faces for just a second. We have a bit of a tech issue going on with the gameplay behind the scenes, but again, Benny, starting out on bar stage, now they're going down to a site like Basement that, of course, it's certainly not easy for the defense, especially given while they are mild, Clubhouse has had some changes in the meta as well. It's certainly shifted the map. Basement is not at all the stronghold it used to be. It can sometimes even be a little bit constrictive for the defense, depending on how they play it and what control the attackers get.
Yeah, it really kind of, not say forces teams, but teams are more, invested in actually roaming now to actually, waste time, because they don't want to leave the attackers to their tools and just let them tear up that floor inside the kitchen, or just open up all the hatches, open the walls they need to, and go to work. Because you got to make it difficult for attackers, and especially in this meta right now. You need to cause the attackers to waste utility, waste time, and either roam or lose manpower if you're gonna, go for fights early on. You can't just let them do what they want to do. So far, it's interesting to see. It's so far, yeah, it looks like Shadow Realm are actually trying to roam, trying to waste time. They have that same mute, Mozzie, Vigil, and Castle kind of, composition that you see from teams when they roam. And the question is so far, I guess the question is, Outlast looks like they're trying to actually clear it out.
Well, playing into it can sometimes be a little bit tricky, especially once Nomad, who is not up above with his team, but down below, instead takes a couple shots from main stairs, not getting aggressive just yet. And unfortunately for him, it's the Vigil he's contending with who can cloak himself with that ERC, and while it's about to run out, for the duration, he's been hidden from any drones or Yana clones or anything that might give away his position. It now runs out, pre-fires a little bit. He'll not get nearly as aggressive. He does have Sheba, who's rotated up secret to help all the way from behind, potentially to even pinch out the player inside a bar later on if he wants to go for it, but likely right now, Nomad by himself, Atheno coming down to play behind him. Not getting aggressive for Outlast. This has already been a solid roam from Shadow Realm. They've wasted some time, done a little bit of damage to Nomad. Now, they could even start rotating back if they wanted, because Outlast, they really don't have much. Over half the round is eclipsed. Or lap.
Yeah. At this point, I wonder what Outlast, what their, the roam game is, or not intro, the intel game is like for Outlast, because they only have 6 drones left. Are they aware of Sheba's presence? If they don't have the necessary drones, this could be a fight. This could be a player that could interrupt the execute from the side of Outlast. And so far, it looks like they have control moto hatch. They have, they're opening up the floor over by kitchen, over towards the main hall, and Sheba is making the way through the top floor for that flank. And so at this point, Outlast, or looks like they're geared to go for a moto push into church. Jewel, of course, open the floor, maybe to try and disrupt anybody from Arsenal that may stop that. But so far, Sheba's getting played. It looks forward. Mr. B goes down the jolt. It looks the execute's happening. Great job from Sheba. Now at this point, Outlast have to make a decision. Are they just going to push on or try and get rid of this roamer?
Well, 30 seconds left. They have to hope the kill presents itself, but no, it does! Sheba still manages to take down Jewel despite the ladder having the angle on that very position. Some shots fired through the wall, and he's finally taken down. But with only 20 seconds left, Benny, this is looking like Shadow Realm's second round in a row. Panic on low HP, Nomad a little bit better, but still not good by any metric. Panic will likely just send a breach charge, maybe to cloak the entry later on as he moves down main stairs. Both have to win these engagements, and they have to win them quickly. The feed's spotted, but unfortunately for him, he's not able to save his teammate with that gunfight that he ends up losing. Will down one, can't even confirm the kill. He'll manage to stay alive, but at the end of it, that was an even better round from Shadow Realm than the previous one.
Yeah, that round was just, we talked about that roam game from them. They didn't even engage anybody. They didn't take any fights in the Shadow Realm. They just were unable, like, it just seemed Outlast weren't unable to really figure out where the room was, and they took their time and really trying to clear them out, which is, at that point, it was just, hey, Shadow Realm at that point wasted enough time. They all pull back the site, except for Sheba, who was still on red stairs. And Sheba, like you saw on the replay, was huge, getting the kill on the Maverick of Maverick of Atheno, just kind of disrupts the plans for Outlast. Outlast was trying to push in. You saw Mr. B get picked off first. They push downstairs, and at that point, Outlast thinking, okay, we can make a push, we got a refrag, but Sheba's there to disrupt the further. Now they have to make a decision. Are they going to go for the kill? And they did. They tried to go for the kill onto Sheba, waste more time, and kind of just lose the focus of the execute.
Gym, not as easy of a site to roam on as Basement is, though, so we'll see how Shadow Realm do, and they can certainly extend a bit, but they don't have as many options to play Fluid like they did on Basement, and like we saw Sheba do, as Betty mentioned. They are looking to make an extension into Cache. They will reinforce that construction wall, so it'll be a little bit more of a construction hold than a full extension into CCTV. We'll have somebody playing logistics as well. There's a drone that actually they did not spot, despite the fact it's not particularly well hidden by Panic. It's just sitting up there rather conspicuously as well. So that's some free intel until Shadow Realm sees it. They don't see it again, just free intel. But the defense is not extending far into CCTV and Cache like many people do. Instead, they might play somebody in there, but it appears to be no, just a hold inside a construction with that shield on the bedroom door. The attackers will have some free map control, but just like with most extensions, they'll have to push into a bunker that can be difficult to clear.
Yeah, big things be opening up that, that single wall from construction into Cache, so they can get that long angle and try and deal with it. Or if they can, they can go from the window, try and destroy the shields with one maybe person downstairs and picking out the player inside of bathroom. Jaeger, who just taking shots and barely misses the face of Jolt. Jolt sees the fire. He's gonna pull back to the main stairs, and Jewel and let's say Jewel and Panic are right on his tail. But question is, are they actually gonna pull up and walk up main stairs with no problem because the barbed wire is there? There's probably someone playing behind Jolt as well, so this shouldn't be an easy walk up. And the question is, with this downstairs control, they have the buck in play too. Are they looking to try and deal with these players playing, that will rotate between, gym and bedroom, player inside a bathroom as well? They can do some heavy damage with that buck below. And will Shadow Realm do anything to stop that in a sense?
Well, this is the nice thing about gym and bedroom. Not many people play down below or hold it as aggressively. You can use that buck to great effect to clear out positions like bathroom, inside a bedroom as well, deny rotations back to site from construction through bedroom or logistics. So Joel can do a lot, but Joel is still posing an ever-present threat that right now is finally rearing its head. Panic down, not finished off. He's going to be kicking himself for not finishing off and landing that shot on the Jaeger early on. That in all fairness, he probably should have. Can be picked back up, and thankfully, the big thing going for Outlast, not only will Panic be at more health than Jolt, but he is one shot as well, the Jaeger is. So if Panic just swings out, manage to land a pre-fire, if anybody downstairs and Bar lands one, he will be dropped on the floor and will likely fall, not able to be picked back up. Minute 15 left. They're finally opening up this bottom floor, but Benny in a 5v5. Is this another case of Outlast stalling out?
It could be. That's more like what everything that they done. Nomad gets the first pick on to Jolt, though, so the main stairs player is gone from the window. Great job using that other angle. And Mill is down, the Jewel's off from below, so it could have seemed like they were stalling up, but they're finding picks now from the main stairs from below. Sheba gets out with a concussion, so they know someone's inside of Logi as well. So far, Outlast, even in this last minute, even with the last effort, they're figuring out where these players are at. Sheba's trying to get a kill, does get the kill on the Nomad. Mr. B else would take on Kami though. So far it's a 2v4. Great shot from Sheba to take out 2 for the round. It's down now to Sheba, not done yet. And the contest question is, what control does Outlast have to make this execute happen? I'm assuming they've opened Jacuzzi and they have main stairs. Otherwise, Sheba could have a chance here to play aggressive, as Mr. B does take out nothing yet. So now it's just Sheba who has to ace this round to win it for his team.
We'll spot one at the bedroom window, but unfortunately for him, Mr. B's getting the bomb down all the way inside of Gym, and he's got a crossfire to try and work his way out of. Nobody getting aggressive on the side of Outlast either. Jewel can play close with that skeleton key. Meanwhile, Atheno can play that long-range angle behind the bed. The buck will peek. Could have been risky, but he manages to land the shots, and Outlast pick up their first round in the end. And Benny, in all honesty, that round wasn't looking great for Outlast for a good part of it. It really came down to winning and finding those gunfights in the end that opened things up for them.
I definitely agree. Like, that was not a round where Outlast had much control. Sure, that the buck below just tearing up the floor in bedroom, tearing up the floor in bathroom. But it was that first pick. I think it was Nomad getting the first pick out of Jolt, opening up main stairs for Outlast. And on top of that, then you saw another kill from Mr. B and from Jewel. And actually, Jewel first. Jewel got the first pick below, or the second pick below, and then Mr. B on top of that, getting 2 picks for his team. And it's just slowly but surely finding those picks and snowballing it further and further for the team. Great job from Outlast, but kind of scary because you're down to a last-ditch effort, which didn't have anything, conclusive per se.
It really, you saw a lot of their take focused on gaining that main stairs control, and they got it, but thankfully Jolt was on 1 HP, so as long as the gunfire presents itself and they win it, that happens. If Jolt's on higher HP, that opportunity does not present itself. So for Outlast, they got their first round on the board. We're only 3 in. We're on round number 4. Plenty of time to turn things around, show us some more convincing stuff, especially on a new site like CCTV that we have not seen in this game so far yet. But a round that you won entirely just because maybe Shadow Realm either, took a gunfight they shouldn't have. Need to see something more for that to happen. Thankfully for them, for Outlast, Shadow Realm aren't doing anything too crazy with this defense. It's a very standard setup for CCTV. They're bringing that Cade to Cade those garage walls to allow Sheba to play inside of there, not with impunity, but to make it extremely difficult to clear him out. Waste a lot of time to open up those walls. But they do also have Kami playing inside his site. A little bit different. We don't see a bandit as often. Usually we see it if Thatcher's on the board to try to go for a bandit trick, but this go around, just another layer that Outlast have to peel.
Yeah, it's just more annoying. You have to use the Maverick to open the wall or go below with that, with the lifeline of Zofia from Nomad to try and destroy those bandit batteries. But having both the Kaid and the bandit, there's so many walls you just can't open up. Well, not really can't, but you have to take time. It's another obstacle to deal with, whether it be that single wall into garage, whether it be the double walls in garage, whether it be just the plat wall. There's a lot you gotta do here. So, but it looks like it is a split push so far. We're probably seeing the Maverick of Atheno go to work on that plat wall while the rest of the team looking to push this bedroom gym side. Jolt's the only one really by himself. He has no reinforcements, no utility to his side. He's just waiting to a gunfight, and he's probably he might get pinged by a drone, which he will finally do. He's gonna get shot out. He's gonna back off a moment. but Not Done is actually going to get the first pick onto Panic. You're Ash, who looks like, and also Kami trying to get aggressive on the Maverick as well, but losing that Ash, not a huge deal when it comes to utility, but still a man off the board.
Yeah, it looks like Not Done Yet just peaked that bedroom balcony. Very aggressive play by the Mute. Not sure if he had the intel in his position. Maybe a default cam was left up. Not too sure if he just got lucky. I like the Spirit, but it is a little bit risky. He does come away with a kill, untraded by Outlast, as the problem is they don't really have much of an opportunity to push or take these gunfights right now. They finally opened up Plat Wall, but it's a minute 30 left. That's a hell of a long time to gain the first bit of control teams usually get on CCTV. Milla's getting very aggressive down below. Atheno manages to catch him out, opening up that lounge door, almost kind of giving a body back to the attack to even things up. That might have been a risky play that, well, obviously did not pay off and might hurt them in the long run.
He had a C4 too. I thought maybe he would just wait for the, the signal to throw a C4 to stop them from opening up that construction wall. But it looks like he tried to go for a kill instead from the stock side, Not Done taking a lot of damage from below. So the defenders are starting to get pushed back into these corners. Athena's below. He's throwing those grenades to try and push back these defenders. He's done some damage to Not Done, but otherwise he hasn't done much here. And they can't get this wall open without a grenade, without destroying that bandit battery. So either Jewel's got to go below with that skeleton key, or they got to throw a grenade. It looks like may have been a lifeline explosive that destroyed it, and so that will open up the construction wall. Now down the last 30 seconds, where Outlast have to execute now in a 4v4.
And this is looking like a difficult proposition. Not Done Yet can play close with that shotgun. He's got the SMG-11 out right now, but he's also got a C4 as well. 20 seconds left. Another magnet goes on in. Got to make his position a little bit better. Maybe burn some more utility. Nomad quickly rotating back up to aid this con push, but Outlast also haven't cleared out Garage. Shiba's got a free angle on the players pushing in breach. Jewel will be taken down. Nomad manages to win the gunfight. Some good timing going his way, but the trades and the man advantage is still all going to favor of Shadow Realm. But Mr. B, a massive play in the site. Doesn't matter in the end. Still an impressive entry by the Thermite, but again, Benny, map control and time management, again, a problem for Outlast in their attacks.
Once again, I totally agree. Just they've been doing the they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's, but they're doing it so slow to the point where they're executing with no time left. They're executing, it's basically a one-try execute. They're going for that one try, and if they screw it up, they're done. It's been happening time and time again, and this again, they finally open up that construction wall. They finally get control they need downstairs. They finally open up Plat Wall. They open up Plat Wall with only a minute and 20 left. They open up that construction wall with only 30 seconds left. They finally start executing on even in the execute, not every member of Outlast was even ready to do it. There's still, in the time when Mr. B was inside of sight killing people, there's still players from Outlast trying to walk up red. The player who walked in construction by themselves, couldn't do much there. They tried to walk into sight, but it was such a spread out execute where members from each different direction that they're just taking 1v1s. It's a 1v1, only one tray. There's no refrag, and after that, you're done.
Map control was another big problem here that ended up influencing their time management, but really clearing out this roam was a big problem for Outlast on this top floor. And that Shadow Realm played it very well. They played the classic SSG Clubhouse roam very well. Didn't get too aggressive. They played it patiently, started rotating back. There ended up being some aggression later on. Saw Shiva making a play, not only trying to make a play upstairs, but then eventually making a play down below. That ended up gaining a lot for Shadow Realm in that round. But they did not play very aggressively for a lot of it. They let Outlast slowly take the control, but the key word there, slowly. And for Outlast, who, again, not only struggled to gain that control, but then lost the gunfights when they mattered most, it's problematic for them in the end. Shadow Realm, they're going for the same strat. Let's see if Outlast can read into it.
It looks like there's some Outlast are going for, last time you saw them open up Jacuzzi and go for that roam clear from above, but it looks like this time they're maybe going for strip instead and pushing over. But the members of Shadow Realm are already close enough to just return to site. There's nobody upstairs. Not Done is really the only one playing on a roam. He's playing right by the hatch motor, so he can just leave when he wants to. So it's going much faster for the side of Outlast because nobody's really roaming this time. Shiba's not playing red stairs. Nobody's playing on top floor. They're all playing main stairs ready to leave. Like at this point, I don't think Atheno even needs to really open this, but he's going to do it anyway because it's still probably droning it to make sure nobody's there. And they're running into the Mute Gymmers, running into those Mozzie pests. So they're still going to open up and still going to clear it. But so far, it's been faster somewhat. Not Done still saying it. There's a member of, I think Shiba's right behind him playing his support. But they've done their job pretty much at this point. They could waste about another 30 seconds. And will they try to go for a kill? Will Shiba still be in a position to play aggressive like he did last time? Hopefully not.
Well, nice thing for Shadow Realm, too, is that since Atheno's dedicating so much, he dedicated so much of that Maverick torch to opening up that wall, there's a lot of fuel wasted that if he's careless, all that hard-reaching utility might be dedicated to the hatches. Then again, there is one open, and, well, Not Done just manages to escape by the skin of his teeth, downed on the floor, but not finished out. And as he's down, he manages to fall through the hatch, but he can be quickly finished off by Nomad, dispatched easily. Now Last's not in the best position, but still in a much better one than where they were previously. We still have all 5 members on the board. They can start opening up the hatches that have yet to be opened, and most importantly, getting these long angles down into sight. You see Jewel opening up an angle through 2 floors to likely aid in the execute that will, in all likelihood, come from the kitchen side, come from that kitchen hatch once it's opened. But Shadow Realm right now still have their positions. They can still play this pretty well because Outlast, they've yet to fully contest the site players.
He probably was doing also to evade a C4.
that likely as well. You can see him actually manage to evade one as it exploded. So
He just runs by and explodes behind him. It looks like he's trying to impact trick that thermite. Oh, too late. Exothermic charge. Bit too late on that impact trick. It goes off, so now the kitchen hatch is open. Miller's playing on top of one of the counters. Actually, one of the generators in the corner, which we've seen players play on the generator, play in the back of that corner. So you can't stop him playing unless you smoke it, or if you try to throw a grenade down there, that could stop him playing up there. But we'll see so far. Another C4 thrown up by Kami a bit too early. Maybe, well, I don't know what intel he had, but he's going to go down Nomad after throwing the C4. Shiba does refrag, taking on Atheno, but so far, looks like this play has been all around Church or Blue. Blue take has gone failed for Outlast. Stroke getting 2. Shiba's own, and Mills will finish off Jewel, and Shadowrun will take another defense.
Outlast got those first 2 kills. Very good kills, not to say that they weren't, but it was another example where we saw in the previous round on CCTV, they just tried to go for a very haphazard execute that maybe wasn't the best, wasn't as well thought out. Here, not entirely the same story. They got a lot of the map control they needed, opened up that kitchen hatch. Most importantly, that impact trick, had it worked, would have probably won the round for Shadowrun much earlier on, but Outlast manages to open it up. They start pushing down. They have this man advantage. It's a 5v3. We're looking really good. But they're, again, a little bit too spread out. The Sledge, Lido's Panic, tries to open things up, push from Blue. Unfortunately, he loses that gunfight. 2 members all looking his way, manage to swing him. Mr. B pushing down main stairs with somebody behind him. Guy behind him loses fight. Mr. B's trying to push in. He loses it as well. That was a case of Shadow Realm. They won a couple very necessary gunfights that maybe shouldn't have gone their way. They managed to win them out. Then at that point, when the players died, the remaining players for Outlast were far too spread out to play cohesively at all. They ended up falling. Another very good round for Shadow Realm, and I think 4-1, looking really good going into your attack.
If they can get a 5-1, that could be the cake right there. 5-1, no matter what map you're on, is hard to come back from. Not impossible, definitely possible by any means. Especially when you have defense on, well, maybe not defense in Clubhouse per se anymore, as the meta's changed, but it's still possible. But we'll see here. We go to our last defense for Shadow Realm. We're going to Bar and Stock once more. Last time we saw it from the side of Outlast, we get the opening pick was Panic in the first pick in Garage. They had control of the top floor. They pushed back the defenders, but they're still losing manpower on flanks, on members of Shadow Realm just playing aggressive at certain times. And even when they had that full top floor control, they couldn't really push those defenders back and actually take control of site when they needed to. And then, well, you see so far, again, we're trying to take control of the top floor for Outlast. I see the mute jammers on that plat wall. They also have Mozzie Pest on the drone hole as well. So at this point, they got to figure out there's definitely a lot more consistent roam from the side of Shadow Realm when it comes to this round.
See C4 blown up as well, that pre-placed down inside a lounge. Unfortunately for Shiba, it's a little bit too early, and he'll be forced to retreat. Not much recourse for them. Another C4 by Millies this time, but unfortunately for him, it also goes wide. So 2 of the 3 C4s on the board for Shadow Realm expended early to no effect. Might have scared Outlast a little bit, but they're keeping track, and if they know potentially the ops on the board, they'll know that it's pretty free right now to walk on in. Millies as well, now facing a hell of a lot of pressure. Bottom of that wall opened up. He'll make the decision to rotate back down, likely a smart one, with how many operators are all pushing towards him. But Shiva still manages upstairs to get the opening pick, despite the fact that he's been up there for quite a while. Might have been undroned, and a little bit of lack of intel for Outlast causing them problems.
Well, at least they have another soft breacher in Jewel as the buck, but losing your sledge, using 2 frag grenades could prove annoying with Leslie's having the Goyle on the board with those shields and other things that the grenades may be needed for. But so far, it's been a pretty, they're trying to take that side of the east side of the map, top floor and that first floor effectively. They push back some of those defenders. Shiba still got a kill though. He's still playing it. Mills actually joined him upstairs as they're trying to hold on to bedroom for as long as possible. And so far, Outlast They haven't really proved much here. The question is, what is their intent now? What are they trying to do here? Are they trying to now take control of stock to push into stage? The stage wall is soft, so they could open it all up, but not done. Taken out by the build window by Nomad. Mills is there at least try and stop them pushing into builds later on. As you know, it's like, oh, Outlasters making a horizontal push at this point. I'm not sure if they're actually going to concentrate on that top floor even.
That's a very important kill. If they take down Millies as well, they have an option to rotate to stage later on, or not stage, to billiards later on if they want to go that way. So if they manage to find the Goyo playing inside a gym, a lot of options opened up. They will spot one player behind the bar. Unfortunately for them, Sheba still gone undealt with up top. Both him and Millies still holding that top floor, and it looks like Outlast in the final 30 seconds don't have many options to deal with them. They'll send Mr. B in on the site, and they're losing all the gunfights and the ones they have to win. A beautiful shot by Kami onto the planter. Where's a Nomad? He was covering, but unfortunately he could not stop the drive-by that just hit Mr. B at the speed of sound. Jolton, through a small hole made in the wall, will get a 5-1 half for Shadow Realm. And that round, Outlast seemed to be making progress. But kind of like the story of their attack, they got some map control. But in this case, a one-dimensional attack cost them a lot of time and a lot of map control as well.
Yeah, they had some map control, but they didn't try to full clear top floor. They, at that point, like tried to, I guess, make sure that they just wanted to contest the top floor. They want to contest that, you know, that construction side, so they can't play the hatch. But you saw there Atheno dies playing that area, trying to hold off by himself, and, you know, losing people early, like Sheba killing Panic early, just puts them in a, you know, a man disadvantage as they're trying to take that first floor, trying to push into stage. And there's so many angles though. They have the bottom floor into kitchen, a kitchen hallway open up so they can play in that kitchen hallway. There's members, of course, playing behind the bar. There was a player of not done who did get killed up playing in billiards, but Mills to there playing above him, so they can still deny a billiards a flank later on. So, and in the end, Outlast didn't have the man advantage even at that point to even go for a flank or go for a misdirection. So it really was just, as just before, a one-directional attack from the side of Outlast, which did not pan out.
Switching sides here. Outlast now on the defense, where Shadow Realms like to not necessarily get aggressive, but certainly place a lot of obstacles in front of Outlast as they made their way through the map. This go around, Outlast appear to be setting up for the exact opposite mentality. Got an Echo, Smoke, Omai, Jaeger, and Aruni. If that does not spell some kind of a bunker hold, I don't know what will. Most of these operators are not, well, not intended. People still do sometimes. For example, Poison now on Two-Faced is very famous for playing the roaming smoke. But in the status quo, most of these operators are not ones you're going to see playing very off-site, so it's a very dramatic shift from how we've seen Basement played so far. We'll see a shield and a hole opened up to bottom main, so Atheno can contest it, so it's not like they're just waiting for the attack to get that control. Still a lot of avenues by which they can contest Shadow Realm, but they're not getting nearly as in the face of the attack and putting themselves not nearly in harm's way as like Shadow Realm did.
Yeah, I talked about it before, is the fact that, well, it's become more and more difficult, like I talked before, to hold on to Church and Arsenal to play this, you know, this bunker style on the bottom floor, and we're going to see just that. If Outlast can do just that in, you know, what we talked about being difficult, well, it looks like the Panic already knows one on chains on the fence here, just watching that kitchen hallway. He'll get away scot-free. Actually does a bit of damage to Jolt in that engagement, just, you know, pre-firing it. And so far, the question is now, is Shadow Realm going to have a problem? They should have no problem opening up this floor now that maybe a C4 waiting for one of them from below. Actually, no, there's no C4s even, so they can't even C4 even. They should have no problem just opening up the floor, doing what they want to do to the floor, opening up the hatches. And it looks like they've already opened up a can opener into dirt. Oh my god, he plays off of the shield. Oh, great intel by Yokai. Hits him with that, you know, that air burst, allows Nomad to swing off of it. And just a yellow pings, having that in time like a drone to play off of. And the fact that you just, you know, Sheba's just kind of standing there waiting for it, unfortunately.
Really good play by Outlast. Some coordination maybe might have been what was missing on their attack. Don't know what the exact problem was, but here, seeing that already, playing off the Echo drone so well. Great job by Nomad and Jewel in tandem. We also see somebody getting aggressive as well. Another burst goes out. Doesn't hit. The player this time, not done yet, manages to rotate out of dirt, and I don't believe the Yokai has been shot yet, so it will constantly provide intel of their position. Unfortunately here, wow! Both impacts missed the exothermic. Did damage to Kami and Millies, but oh wow, Benny, that is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it looks like they were just kind of throwing it at the floor rather than throwing it between the floor, you know, the beams. So unfortunately, because you throw it right at the beams, it just doesn't do damage, you know, beyond it, unfortunately. Did a lot of damage though. Did a lot of damage to Kami and Mills, but didn't break those exothermic charges like they probably may have been intended for. So with the kitchen hatch open, the question is Outlast. They still haven't taken control of dirt though. Blue would probably be the next step here if they're going for a kitchen take. And having, Jolt here to try and cover any crosses, which he just watches one of the members of Outlast cross over. Not unfortunately good at that. Panic looking to try and finish him off, or maybe play a position. Grenade comes out, destroys that Aruni laser gate. And wow, Panic is just waiting for Oh my god.
I mean, he's trying his best, but finally he's got to rotate back. Execute likely coming through. Both smoke bolts sent down, some flashes as well. He's in a great spot to stop this execute, though, because nobody's really playing that verticality. They're sitting there, but not actively watching it. They're bothered by the Jaeger and Dirt. He's gone completely on red. It's Jewel to get that kill, but still Panic to hold this position and watch Shadow Realm as they drop down. One will finally rotate, spot the Aruni through the hole, but the damage has already been done. He's taken down. Man advantage still in the favor of the defense. And look at these other angles. Jewel can watch the drop as well. They've managed to even it up, but this angle is what could win them the round. He drops Kami completely unaware. The second one as well down. All that's left is not done yet, and there's simply not enough time to find even one kill. Good showing from Outlast on the first defensive round to make up for a poor attacking half.
Yeah, we were kind of scared about that. I don't know. I was kind of scared about the bunker, execute or bunker hold from the side of Outlast, but they did it pretty well. They're able to hold on to Dirt very well using the Yokai drone as that, as that intel, allowing for Nomad to swing off, get the first pick on the Shiba. And then, having the Capital was important too, but then you lose the Capital as well, which could have been helpful in dealing with those players, like the player here you see, like Jewel, who was playing in that back corner Arsenal. It seemed like there were definitely a lot of things given to Shadow Realm, and unfortunately they didn't use the tools effectively to try and deal with these members who were playing in the corner of Arsenal, or like Panic. Panic just walks into Arsenal and just walks around the floorboards that are open above him like nobody was watching them.
Well, I think that's actually a really good point. Before I move into this round, saw a lot of vertical holes made by Shadow Realm, but where there weren't holes? Was not a hole watching the bottom of main stairs. Panic didn't end up getting a kill there. That's what allowed him to get so aggressive. There was no pressure to watch the rotate up those stairs. Same goes for the Ash Wall as well. You can just rotate on in because, again, there are vertical holes inside the site, but none watching common rotations and common positions played by the defense. And that might have been a little bit of missed opportunity from the attack. Thankfully here, you don't have to worry about verticality as much because unless you're Jewel who likes to play the buck, odds are on CCTV, you're not going to be focusing that much on verticality. You have that sledge, but you just can't hit the hammer on the floor above you. You can only do that if the floor is below you. So for here, it's likely going to be a little bit more linear coming out from Shadow Realm. We look to open up Plat Wall pretty early on, but one big problem we saw here, Benny, from Outlast, not only did they didn't really struggle to clear out the garage player, because they never got the opportunity to clear out the garage player. They opened Plat Wall late, opened Construction Wall even later, and left a lot of necessary positions that you need to clear unchallenged.
Yeah, Outlast just... They didn't have the time. They didn't try to open up or take over garage at all. They went for that split take, but took quite a bit of time. And like you said, yeah, they didn't really have the time or the intel to deal with those players who were playing in red, playing inside of, back of sight. But so far, it looks like they're opening up this wall. Chiba gets a great shot right to see the back of Atheno playing garage. And that's going to make it so much easier for Not Done and Kami to make their way through. And now, can someone from Outlast cross over and try and help out Atheno, maybe from below or from above? That's now, this kind of throws a distress signal to Outlast that this control is being quickly attained by Shadow Realm. Plat Wall is open. They have control of garage. Well, they almost have control of garage. They're pushing it through. They're trying to clear out who maybe is playing below an oil pit. Dunn's going to come up and finish off the play of Atheno, and that is early control for Shadow Realm. That is huge.
That could be the kill that gets them the round right there. You don't have to expend any utility. All you took was a hard breach charge that you were going to dedicate to the wall anyway. I mean, that is exactly what you want coming out from Shadow Realm. Not only that, now you have this full garage control. You can open that panel. Plat Wall almost opened up as well. Benny, I don't know if they've actually opened it up all the way yet. I think they just still have some holes made. Panic manages to find one kill, but a nice nade by Millies and a couple more kills as well. This is just not looking anything close to an Outlast victory so far, unless Jewel and Mr. B manage to pull something out that is incredible. They do have some good utility. 2 smoke canisters and a C4. The former, one of which has been expended, still has one more. That's about 10 seconds of denial. And the problem is, you can waste time, but Shadow Realm, they have time on their side as well. 1:10 seconds to fully decide what they want to do, to isolate these players, and not even take the gunfights, just hold their positions. Kami will finally work their way on in. Starting to get the bomb down. Smoke grenade goes a little bit too wide. Mr. B tries to challenge, but the only other piece of close paint utility is the one that gets aggressive, and now he's put on the floor. Jewel has to take these gunfights. He's in a position where he has to make a play. On 1 HP now, he tries to do something, but the angles are too much for him to deal with. Shadow Realm moved to match point.
That was quite on Shadow Realm. Getting that early pick with those, that top of the reinforced being Maverick or being, burned out allows for him to get a great angle onto the member of Atheno playing inside of the rafters. Shoots him in the back, downs him, and there's already members of Shadow Realm at the garage walls, opening it up, pushing their way through to take that control. We've always talked about CCTV. Once you have control of rafters and you have control of Platwell opened up, it is likely, and I'm saying always, but likely that the attackers win at that point with all the control, unless there's a C4, unless it's an indirect denial you can throw. But at that point, you can see Shadow Realm from those positions were killing out most of the players Outlast, left alone Mr. B. It was, well, not Mr. B, it was Mr. B and another player of Nomad, I think, who was playing the smoke in the mute. So they had some denials to the left. They still had some smoke and still had a C4. But the members, you're in a 4v2. They have all the angles ready to shoot you down. You know, it's all that last smoke canister thrown out to try and stop from planting, stop Kami. But it wasn't in the correct position, so Kami just keeps planting the diffuser. Mr. B tries to get in a position to throw a C4, gets cut down. It's just the last player to mute to try and push forward, and not much you can do here. They have people in garage, people on plat, waiting for you to run out. And that point, it was Outlast going down, and Shadow Realm take match point. We go on to Gym Bedroom for what could be the last chance for Outlast. They had to play perfect siege now to go to overtime.
Maybe not perfect, but if they make mistakes, they just have to hope that Shadow Realm makes a little bit more mistakes, or one big mistake if you want to. 4 rounds in a row can be difficult, but it always seems to happen when you least expect it. Problem here, we recall the first gym attack by Outlast. It was overall pretty solid, but still came a little bit down to the wire towards the end. It was an execute that came mainly from the, well, actually, honestly, Benny, it didn't really come from a particular way. There were some players over by cash, there were some players clearing out construction, but a lot of it was from main stairs working the way from below. I imagine, based on how Shadow Realm are playing, and considering that Outlast are moving a little bit more into CCTV and cash, we'll see a little bit more focused on that eastern side of the map, some pressure put onto Panic playing inside of there, but they're already getting in position, some on logistics right now, so even if they don't put a lot of focus, they're cutting off some necessary rotations.
Listen, there's nothing to stop Kami from starting us off and opening up that jacuzzi wall early. Just start us off, get that wall open early, make sure there's a, it makes it, make Outlast aware of her position so far. And yeah, the question is, are they going to go for that east side? We didn't see it from Outlast whatsoever in their attack. And I'm interested to see if, you know, Shadow Realm put any focus there, or are they going to try and focus on main stairs? They're going to focus on the, you know, the balcony and just have someone watch that window. Well, so far, looks like Mill is opening up all the windows into, you know, into the bedroom, just making Outlast aware of his possessions, trying to scare him out, make sure they're looking left and right, not sure where to look for his execute. But so far, you know, Outlast, or no, Shadow Realm hasn't done much really. They just open up Jacuzzi, and that's all they've done.
Well, it's still a minute in. Plenty of time to either rotate or isolate more members of the attack. See Nomad getting a little bit aggressive. Panic as well, now rotated down, recognizing that nobody on Shadow Realm is playing or contesting the east side of the map, so we can get a little bit aggressive down below. Of course, that's a little bit more scary. There's a far more likelihood that somebody could be playing down inside a bar and then cut you off as you rotate down, so that's something Panic is going to have to consider, and likely will influence his decision making and maybe not get aggressive until later on in the round. Mr. B also swinging out right in front of that opened wall. Thankfully, he does not give himself up to any angles, and nobody from Shadow Realm is looking, so he can get a couple drones, then immediately rotate back on in. But a lot of the control that Shadow Realm wants, Benny, down below, contesting gem, but oh no, I was about to say they have a lot of it. Panic manages to get both of the players that might not even been aware of his presence. That is a massive play by the Jaeger, and one that Outlast desperately needed to stay in the race.
Definitely, that was just, like, it seemed like the same exact play, well, not same exact, but a very similar play to what Outlast did in their attack. They're just not even going for the eastern side, just pushing that jacuzzi wall. Great stuff from Nomad to take a jolt and going for that main stairs. And so far, it seems to be quite the chaos and quite the unfortunate not really working out for them like we saw from Outlast in their attack. He sees the head of one, but not done yet. Doesn't see it fast enough. Nomad with 2 kills of his own. It's down to just Kami in a 1v5. And yeah, same exact kind of play from Outlast and same kind of failure, unfortunately.
Try to go for that main stairs push combined with the gym bedroom, but unfortunately for them, whereas at least Panic managed to take down the Jaeger playing on main stairs previously, and Panic worked his way on up. There, Shadow Realm went for a very late clear into bar, and maybe they had the intel. They just, wow, nice shots by Panic. Maybe the default was still, I don't know. That was, wow. Nice shot. Oh no, they had some holes in it. That's why I was about to say.
I didn't see those holes.
I was like, did he just spray through the wall? I was like, jeez. But no, they had some holes there.
Those walls on my side. Those holes on my side.
I denied it, but that escaped me. We are in a little bit of timeout, by the way. You saw in chat one of the players suffering a mute sound bug right now, so we're gonna rehost a bit, let him disconnect and rejoin, so we can get the audio figured out. Thankfully, they're up 6-2 right now, so it's not a situation where, you know, it might cost them the game. No. That's the exact kind of round we needed to see from Outlast. I would like to see maybe one a little bit more convincing, because again, Benny, they had the man advantage to clear out Panic. It appeared that it was likely the intel that was lacking, as opposed to just Panic. I mean, Panic went crazy, but that wasn't truly the factor.
Intel is definitely an issue there, and I misspoke earlier saying Outlast didn't. They worked out because of the fact that they got kills on that round when they won it last time on their attack. But yeah, this round, Yeah, Shadow Realm, they pushed downstairs to take control of the bottom floor, take control of bars, take control of billiards, but they didn't know Panic was just kind of sitting around the corner, around the wall and bars. So kind of a lack of droning, a lack of intel from Shadow Realm when they made that push. And there wasn't really much on the board to stop them from droning. So I wasn't sure where that time went to because they spent the first minute open up Jacuzzi, and that was really all they did. So what happened to that time?
I'm not entirely sure, but you do have a little bit of a buffer to make those mistakes. Again, it's 6-3 now. Plenty of time for you to just get that one round on the board, and eventually, Outlast are going to have to go back to a site that they are not comfortable with. I believe Benny Basement is now unlocked. That was a round that they won, so not all too crazy, but this was a round where Shadow Realm, they seem to have a good setup. They fumbled in the beginning. There was some great play by Outlast inside of Dirt, but they got a lot of the control, but they were missing a few key pieces, cutting off the rotation up main stairs, contesting the player by gun racks behind Ash Wall. That was another failing of their attack, but they got a lot of control. It was a matter of just cleaning it up a little bit more and getting some better positioning. If they fix it here, even though Outlast won it previously, this could very well be a 7-3 if Shadow Realm just iron out just a couple small mistakes.
Yeah, if they can take control, because we saw Jolt last time playing that main hallway, and he could have been the person to stop, Panic from playing that. He was the person that got into the first engagement with Panic already, and he kind of just, he left that main stairs control, went back upstairs. Even though they already had that top floor control, and they had the kitchen hatch open, there was nobody playing for that. There was no holes above. There was nobody playing that position. So there's allowed Panic just to rotate between sites. So that's kind of like those positions you need to have. And when they failed on that, they tried to go for a blue push, didn't work out. They tried to jump down the hatch, and Panic just sitting there waiting for them. So I definitely agree. They need if the Capital's live too for that position, they could have well, actually you can't because you're sitting on top of the generator. So how would you? Yeah, I guess a grenade would be
the issue.
Yeah.
Maybe people are pushing into Dirt with some intel. I don't know. But again, it was like 60% of what they needed was there, but it was that final 40, which, to be fair, is a sizable percentage. Could have been a lot better, but there were still a lot of good workable pieces there that I think they could eke out a win here if they manage to iron things out a bit. But Outlast, they have a good momentum round in their back pocket. Panic with that big kill. Going forward, again, going to familiar territory as well. This is not at all unwinnable in terms of the comeback. Big problem is when we get to CCTV later on down the line, which in all likelihood they will have to go back to at some point, just based on how low the score count is. They can rack up a win on Basement, then transition into CCTV with a different mindset, unless they want to go bar stage, which, to be fair, we have seen 2 bar stages today, which is 2 more bar stages than I thought we would see. Could see Outlast go for that as well. I mean, they can attack it all right. Maybe they're confident defending it too. I don't know. I'd be very surprised if we saw it a third time, though.
Yeah, Shadow Realm won it both times they played it too, which is crazy because you don't see bar stage very often in general in the North American region. So it's interesting. We've seen them play it out pretty well. Maybe they can take some tips from what Shadow Realm did and try to work their own, their own finesse, their own kind of strategy into it. But yeah, at this point, we're probably gonna go back to that bottom floor, and eventually we'll have to go back to CCTV though, and they cannot give that rafter so quickly to the attacking team.
Yeah, that's the problem. Well, I will say that's the problem, but at the same time, if Atheno is literally just slightly to the right, that kill doesn't happen. It's an entirely different round from what we saw. So even though CCTV did not go their way whatsoever, it was a very dominant round from Shadow Realm. That garage control might be a lot harder to take down if that round plays out how it should in theory. The garage player usually dies, but not in that way and not so quickly. So could go a lot differently.
It could be different, yeah, because you had like Atheno, you had not Atheno, but you had the Zofia sitting on the Maverick holes watching that into rafters, and you had, I think it was Kami and the rest of the members of Shadow Realm going below. So it could have been different with that, especially if someone's playing lounge or someone's playing Swamp below with them. It could be a very different round for Shadow Realm and for Outlast to it. So it depends. We'll see what happens. It's definitely interesting to see. I guess first for us is just going back to bottom floor is gonna be an interesting part and see how Shadow Realm changes up their strat.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Another thing I want to touch on specifically in relation to Outlast defense, one of the big points overall that was going their way was their usage of that Echo as well. Obviously, it got them a lot in Dirt early on, but because Shadow Realm were really struggling to get some of those spots on the site, they didn't really deny anybody playing inside a church all that well. Inside of Arsenal as well, you saw the generator play. Obviously we have talked about Panic ad nauseum. Those yokai drones, if it's another very late push with not enough places cleared out and dealt with and isolated, those yokais could provide a big impact as well. I believe the one in Dirt, correct me if I'm wrong, Benny, I don't think it ever actually got shot. I think they lost a body. The Capitao tried to move in. they eventually just gave it up. That yokai can sit inside its dirt, and that's 2 yokais in all likelihood still on the board that could deny the plant. On top of the Echo holding that angle, Panic holding that angle, the other post-plant utility they had to deny the bomb going down. So there is just so much going Outlast way in terms of the utility on that attack that if they just provide a couple more obstacles, or even the same amount of obstacles for Shadow Realm, it's going to be a difficult one to come away with. So Shadow Realm will have to do a lot better job of clearing out those positions, which maybe now that they've eased into the attack a little bit more, we'll see. Just depends.
Yeah, we didn't even see who the second yokai was. Even we only saw the first one.
That's
was
true.
in dirt and never got shot.
Which, to be fair, was a hell of a first yokai, though. So it's not like whatever that second one was doing, the fact that first one lived, that's going to be your lucky one that you're going to... The other one could be inside. You're going to drive that one in just to make sure, because you hit about 2 sonic bursts, one of them resulting in a kill. That's already pretty good. So you're trying to deny the plant. That is your lucky yokai right there. I imagine, though, Benny, that they're going to expect that this go-around if they go for the same dirt push. I don't know if we'll see an IQ, but we might see them looking a bit more at the ceiling, trying to see if there's a yokai up there. They're not visible anymore, but dirt's always just so weird of a room. It's got a lot of curves, a lot of jutting out rocks inside of there. Like, hard to look at sometimes.
Trying to shoot through those, the wooden bars that are like not really bars, but like the planks going around that are just 2x4s that are holding up the ceiling in the room. It's definitely difficult to play that. And it was interesting too, because we saw the Zofia push through there, and I'm not sure they're being droned in or not, but they just kind of sat there and expect someone to swing them, which they did.
Well, yeah, they did. Just unfortunately, it was paired with a sonic burst that you really can't fight back from, depending on what's happening. We're getting back in the game finally, though. Lengthy rehost now done. Could be the final round, though, Benny. Could have spent all that time, getting back into the game, setting up the lobby. Shadow Realm could come out flawless this round, and we'd be done with the 7-3. Hopefully, we don't see that. Hopefully, we see Outlast continue to stomp back, gain a little bit more ground.
Downfall.
I'm not praying on their downfall. I said I wanted to see them play. I didn't say it would happen, but I said it could, and it could.
Potentially.
I'm not wrong.
Well, on Attrition Arsenal we go for this site, and looks like this is a bit of a different setup. Looks like they are bringing a Mozzie along, so they're not really full going for the roam, bringing the Mute Mozzie Vigil. They're just bringing the Mozzie, so maybe they're just trying to, ghost roam, trying to make it so that the attackers still go for a clear, but there's nothing to clear whatsoever.
You're still on that Echo, which is, of course, exactly what I want to see. Considering it worked so well for Outlast previously. Shadow Realm as well. I don't know. Will we see the same 2-man push in through dirt? I'm not entirely sure. It's not bad if you get the kill, but if you don't, you kind of just 2 men stuck inside of dirt, and that really doesn't get you anything in the way of control. I don't think we're going to see too much of an extension here, especially knowing how Mr. B tends to like to play. Mr. B's always been a bit more of a structure, likes to keep people close by. Not to say that, they don't get aggressive. I mean, played on Chess Club. We all know how that team was. But I don't really associate kind of that super aggressive extended realm. This shield, opening and contesting main stairs, that's the kind of stuff I associate with Mr. B. The phrase Mr. B shield is common for a reason. He likes his shields. He likes his positions that can often serve as bunkers or bastions that the attack has to deal with. Main stairs is one of them. It's not as aggressive, but it is certainly a position that if the attack wants to make a push, either through the kitchen drop or pushing down main stairs, they're going to have to deal with, and might have to deal with a little bit later than they would like.
Well, let us see how they do it this time. And so far, it looks like we see members of Shadow Realm pushing from that, maybe going to dirt once again. You see again, there's already the yokai just sitting up, waiting for a push from Shadow Realm. Second, looks like they're actually just using it to even drone through the drone hole and see who's walking towards it. Oh my god, I see Zofia and the cat. I see both of them. And once again, they're using that can opener to open the wall up. And the question is Nomad going to get a kill this time, or is somebody, or Panic, is somebody going to get a kill again off of this yokai playing inside of dirt? They're joining it once again. And we'll see that it's getting like last time. Is someone going to be playing by main stage to stop any rotation between site? And they see the yokai this time. That's great. They actually do identify where it's at, so they don't get pinged off.
One. Oh wait, no, that's the same one. Sorry.
Yeah, same one. They shoot out that drone, and yeah, I guess my question now is like, are they going to use utility to try and stop these members in dirt? How are they going to be able to do this? Because that's such, like you said before, it's windy. It's such a difficult path.
Well, the nice thing is, I don't believe there are any ADSs. There might be a magnet. I'm not entirely sure. They could send some concussions in, of course, if they get wasted, and there are some ADSs and magnets there. That, of course, would be problematic. The yokai is still there as well. They could expend some utility, but the longer they focus on it and don't do anything, it's just going to appear to be some time wasted. I mentioned that Mr. B's teams don't like to get aggressive, but here he is showing me up. Mr. B pushed all the way up to the second floor, as will my. potentially gone undroned in that position we full. So finally see some shots rain through. Oh wow, what a shot by Nomad, lining it up, not a pixel, but as damn close as you can get. He'll go for a second play as well. The Yokai manages to stun the Capitao, but honestly, he could and probably should have walked away after the first.
Yeah, well, he wanted to go for a 2-for-1, and it looks like Panic will swing out from the main stairs, lose it to Jolt, and that's 2 aggressive plays so far. Dropping Mills just dropped right into sight. Mr. B at this point has to get aggressive as he's trying to look down that hatch and see if he can find a member of Shadow Realm from above, but doesn't see anybody. He's still looking down. Kami's getting the plant down. He's got a down time. The smokes were perfect there, but so far not done yet. Gets his own kill. Mills in sight takes another. Mr. B drops. He takes out Jolt. He's running back to site trying to help his team, but his team's dead. It's just him in a 1v3. He's just one member of not done far in the back. Mr. B's looking, trying to find anybody. Doesn't know one's lying down. Gets shot anyway. Great shot in the middle is he's trying to kill 2 more members. What intel is in the name of Mr. B? Is there Yokai to help him out? He's one head. Doesn't know the last one. Second one to his left is Kami. It's a GG. He's a Shadow Realm.
I don't want to be mean there. But Outlast tossed that one a little bit. That was a little bit of a throw, for being entirely honest. They get that first pick. The Yokai Nomad play in tandem works a second time in a row. Gets a little bit aggressive, maybe a little bit over-aggressive. If it's a minute 15 left, that's the kind where you got to decide, do I want to make this play, do I not? He goes for the first spray, but he continues aggressing. That was the first big problem. Second big problem, Benny. Panic, getting aggressive right there. He's managed to work his way up main stairs, but he decides to aggress. Peek inside a kitchen. There are 2 or 3 bodies waiting there, and that is a very commonly held position by the attack to be watching. I mean, the only place they can really push, aside from below, is up main stairs. They're likely going to be watching that, especially when it's still a 4v4. They have bodies to dedicate to watch that angle, to watch that rotation, and they throw the man advantage away. Throw that kill, opening kill, that in all likely would have been untraded had they just pulled back. Mr. B as well, isolated on the top floor, rest of his team made that an effective 4v2 on the site once Panic fell. It's understandable why Shadow Realm came away with it in such a dominant fashion after that fact.
Yeah, that was the fact that I saw Miller's drop and Mr. B's still above, and he throws the impact, sees nobody. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's just we already knew how that round was going to end. We were just watching it play out to the end.
We're watching Mr. B try and find Ghost because the team at that point already aggressed onto site. He's got to try and find 3 kills and a post plant at that point because the rest of the team, like you said, it was a 4v2 on site. His Panic was dead, so was Nomad, and the rest 2 members are like, oh my god, they're dropping on the hatch, they're pushing on site. The smoke cancer trying to stop the plan from happening, but it's a little too late at that point with all the just the jump of the hat. They said, oh, we're going for it.
And also, ironically enough, I mentioned how big of an impact the Yokais might have had. I don't know exactly what happened, but we saw at the end there, once Kami got the bomb down, there was a Yokai directly above him. Maybe it got in position late, or the Echo flicked to it a little bit late. But that also, despite the low man count they had, that could have been the game right there. That could have given enough time for Mr. B to rotate back. He already got a couple kills, made it a 1v2 once it was already a 1v4. That could have given him enough time to rotate, get a couple key kills if that happens again. But again, it was another missed timing, and really, it was just a lot of individual mistakes made by players on Outlast that ended up costing them that final round. But really, this was a great showing for Shadow Realm today. First time they've been on stream. First time I have seen them. I have to say, I've been impressed by what I saw in this game.
Yeah, I don't know who any members of Shadow Realm are, but they showed us up and they showed us that just because you're in CL doesn't mean anything. You could be in CL, we can still beat you. We can still show you up on maps like Clubhouse. So that's great to see from Shadow Realm, and hoping to see more of them as we go along. But so far, it looks like I think we have a Wichita Wolves Academy game to watch as we're waiting for the brackets or this round to end in the Swiss grouping so far.
This is good. I've wanted to see Wichita Wolves for a little bit now. Wichita Wolves Academy. It does appear, Benny, they're down 4-6. This ain't good.
They're playing Goosick. Oh yeah, this is the one I wanted to watch.
This is the best thing that has ever listen, I'm not praying on Wichita Wolves' downfall, but a Wichita Wolves Goosick game, this was actually, we were debating between the Shadow Realm, the Outlast one, and the Goosick Wichita Wolves one. We ended up going with Shadow Realm Outlast, but I'm glad we get to see a little bit of this game, and it appears, Benny, that our T4, Goosick. T3 superstars might be beating some of the fan favorites in at Wichita Wolves Academy.
tried
Well, maybe
to
not
cross
this
last
much.
time.
I know JJ
It
can
looks
be
like
kind
the
of
same
polarizing, but
reinforcements
the rest of
for
that
Same
team,
balls as last
everyone
time.
loves it.
Closet master
One
clear.
Astra, one
Yeah,
Heavy
but
Jaeger.
say, look at like this
where's
6-4
that?
match point for
I think he
Team
went-
Wasn't
Gusick.
that-
And it looks like,
I
oh,
wasn't
some
that-
one
You
member
went
has a
here,
great
Jaeger
shot,
went
and
here.
one of the members from Team
You can
Gusick
enter
that can't
that.
seem to find the shot.
can
I
enter
remember
that.
I watched yesterday when Cookie's in. Pro
how
dude, it's so
about
weird to
that?
try and
Yeah, we
like
have, like-
commentate or watch
Dude, it
this.
is
Just to
very
play Twitter.
strange. It is
It is very
also we're hearing the comms as well.
How
Like
about
this
so
is.
sad?
Yep.
I'm not saying I don't like it. This is a very bit of an odd experience. We get to hear JJ's renowned IGLing on the comms right now. Ooh, see Trev Mac managed to get a kill. That is the POV we're watching. I was not aware until just now. Trev Mac was the same member who streamed his POV during the quals that gained so much fame and attention. So seeing him get the opening pick, I have no idea who it was onto because again, this from the Playos POV. I'm not familiar
I think I
with
saw
this
his
angle.
name was Amp, but I don't know who Amp is.
Well, he's a player on Gusick, Benny.
I'm holding 92 tickets.
Come on.
The year is basketball.
Get it together.
Get together. Well, wait, Baxel though elsewhere, he C4's chosen on the Wichita Wolves roster, and actually this is a I think it's an Aviator game site. I'm assuming I see from his point
Yes,
of view.
it is.
So
I have a
so
game
far,
on
it looks like they've gotten a pick so
Yana?
far, but they've gotten
Good pick.
C4, and I don't know what the plan is for Wichita Wolves so far. It looks like they may be going for that misdirection later on to go into study while they're going for that north to south take.
Well, you saw they had 7 drones and now they have 6 after one's been shot and actually now have 5. So I was gonna comment how their drone economy is doing well, but if they keep losing them at this rate, it's not gonna be looking very good in 20 seconds. Still have a lot going for them. Again, losing that Yana, especially on Aviator games, you know, you can use that Yana clone to clear up 90, clear into the site. It's not great, and well, I was gonna say they can make it work with the 4v4. Things are now starting to spin out of control for Wichita Wolves Academy at the moment. Losing that Sledge, who is pushing up 90 to contest inside the site. You have Trev Mac, but there we go. A very aggressive swing by Baxel. I don't know if I would have done that one, but he comes away.
I guess
with
he
it.
heard the timing of him, swinging into the balcony, but Unlimited also takes out Skunky, and this is probably the
Looking
end of the
like it's
game.
it.
It's just one member left. The nomad of
It's
JJ
JJ.
against 1v4 against Team Gusick. He's trying to make his way through Classical and through 90, it looks like. But he's not allowed to his name. He's a nomad. I don't know what utility is left, really, what intel's in his hand.
You know what's frustrating? I want to spectate JJ and see what's happening, but since this is a comp game and they're actually disciplined players, they're watching drones instead. And he's dead. All right. Well, so Gusick, Benny, 7-4 for them. That was a very quick escapade we just took ourselves on.
Yeah.
But again, going to show how the team that has stunned a lot of people, Gusick, 7-4 victory over Wichita Wolves Academy. Ooh, going to feel good. Going up 5-1 now, I believe.
Oh, yeah, Team Gusick. You know what they're probably eating? They're probably eating something that helps them out in their game. You think they are?
I hate you. I hate you. Nah, that was good. That was a little bit on the nose. That was still good. Of course, what Benny's referring to is, as always, here, previously at NerdStreet, still at NerdStreet. Now for SCS Season 6, we are still sponsored by Mike and Ike's, where you can power up your game, hopefully achieve the level of Team Gusick that we have seen through the qual so far. Of course, you have Mike and Ike's. I actually, hold on.
Did you get some?
I'm gonna be honest, Benny.
Well, what's up?
I'm gonna be honest. I actually forgot I had these. I've had these for about 4 months now.
What, 4 months? What?
They've been sitting in there. They've been they're actually, wow. The Mega Mix box is empty because I ate all of them. They're actually cobwebs.
Of course I would assume you ate them all.
There are cobwebs inside of there right now. So I'm gonna show the other one. I'm gonna show the other one. Show the normal box. But yeah, of course.
No,
thank you to Mike and Ike's as always. Oh God, here. You wanna? Oh, there actually are some in there. Actually, here. Let's take a look. See, you can't really see it. It doesn't show up on stream. But as you can see, I have Mega Mix and the original box as well. I'm not a big fruit flavored candy guy. I kind of like Mike and Ike's. I'm always also partial to like the lemon flavor on the Mega Mix.
Lemon flavor.
Or yeah, I like lemon flavored things. On the Mega Mix though, it is pineapple banana flavored. I won't hold that against them, despite the fact I don't like pineapples or bananas. But I get it. You gotta vary it up. Okay, listen, we've talked about this extensively. I'm not a big fruit guy, okay? A lot of it's too tart or too sweet, and I don't like it. We don't need to delve into it here. Thank you to Mike and Ike's, as always, for sponsoring the stream. Appreciate it very much, and especially for being one of the only fruit-flavored candies I can actually tolerate.
Yeah, I've been eating them all my life. There's nostalgia at this point for eating Mike and Ike's, and I will tell you, I like the sour candy personally more than the rest of them. That's the thing. That's just me.
No, listen, I don't want to be mean, but I'm a big chocolate guy. A lot of fruit candy, like Smarties, for example, they lost before they even could begin the war. I love chocolate too much. It's a problem. It's so good though. I don't understand how the sour things are preferable to the not delicate. What's the word I'm looking for? Decadent. That's the word. Decadent glory
okay.
that is chocolate.
I don't know. I'm just not a candy. Well, I would say I'm not a candy guy in general personally, but when I want to eat Mike and Ike's, I technically want to get the sour kind before the
That's
other
true.
ones.
If
That's
you're
just my preference.
you're getting a fruit candy, you might as well go all out with the sour stuff. But again,
Yeah.
we're still waiting for I believe overall round 1 to end. Of course, we saw our first game that we had on stream. Shadow Realm wins 7-3 over Outlast. We just saw the very tail end of it. Team Goosick take a good 7-4 victory over Wichita Wolves. And we'll be back shortly once round 1 ends. We'll get into round number 2 and see which teams are moving up and which teams are moving down. Until then, I've been Lynx, joined by Benny. We'll see you in just a little